a lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of ice.
We started to put the plastic bag
Yeah.
of entire window on this floor.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the windows we see here, the inside pane of glass is actually cracked. Once that ice melts on a warm day, then it's all gonna run down the wall, which is why you see these kind of tracks of staining along the wall. This is a stubborn window.
Just like you.
I'd love to help them, but there's too many guys. I'll just get in the way. I'll trip and fall down on the grass and it'll be a disaster. So really heavy duty. This is probably one of the larger windows I've seen. It's good enough, right? Yeah. Morning, everybody. My name's Ian. I'm the owner of Timber Pointe Home Inspection. Today we're here in the community of Evergreen, and we're going to be switching out appears to be some wood frame windows with some metal cladding. I'm hearing that there's some signs of some rot and decay, so I'm already excited. So let's come with me and we'll go inside. Okay, so we're here at the front of the house. We're on a west-facing window. This would get exposed to a lot of rain, a lot of snow, a lot of ice. You can see just from taking off the some of the glazing stops that there's complete rot inside this window. This is not good to see at all. Good for us to see, obviously doing a video, but if you're a homeowner, this isn't something you want to be dealing with. So once we get these windows popped out, we'll have a further look inside and see what kind of damage, if there is any, to the actual sill or the structure of the house. If there is, then we're going to have to do some repairs. So let's have a look inside and see what else is going on. So this window we're looking at is actually a combination of multiple windows. You can see that the ones making up the arch are 3 different windows, and then in the picture frame is 3 different windows. So 6 actual sashes or panes of glass that are making up this window. So it's actually quite a complicated disassemble. So we have to cut out the actual seal around the window, pop it out, and then we can take the frame out after that. Okay, so I'm here with
Masa.
Masa. Yeah, I'm Ian. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ian.
Yeah, so we just got started. I was going to ask you a few questions, and one of the
Sure thing.
first I need to know, what was the year the house was built in?
2000.
2000. Okay, and it looks like you have mostly wood frame windows. I noticed on the outside there's some metal cladding.
Yeah, right.
So you would think that it's being protected from the elements, not having to paint and do the maintenance. But as we see, we take out the first window at the front there, lots of rot and decay inside the actual frame. So the window wasn't doing a good job at shedding that moisture.
Yeah.
So that problem's going to be completely eliminated today when the newer vinyl windows come in.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah. So obviously you can notice from the outside that there was rot, or did you find that out just recently?
Yeah, actually we have not been aware of any rottenness at all.
Until you start taking it apart is when you notice it.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Did you notice that you had water coming in when it was a high rains or anything like that during a storm?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
A little bit of moisture.
A little bit of, not actually a little bit. We had in the winter time, we had a severe condensation.
Yes.
And that's the reasons why at that time we had a leaking of the water draining under the window.
Yeah.
So we started to put the plastic bag of entire window on this floor.
Yeah, to try to prevent the humidity from building up.
So that prevented the draining of the window.
Yeah.
But at the same time, before winter, my wife and I needed to put the plastic on top of every single window. So I hope we will stop.
Yeah, we're not going to have to worry about that.
Right.
That's a very common problem, especially with like a wood style window. The insulation around the window, the air sealing is not very good. And these were fairly high-end windows, I think, for the time. Given the style of them and the size and everything like that.
I see.
But it doesn't seem like they were holding up over time. It seems like there's a lot of decay that's happened. So obviously taking all those out is a good time, even though that's only a 25-year-old house. still a good time to take them out if you start noticing that. If you're having to put plastic on your windows before the winter time is preparing for winter, that's not, you shouldn't have to winterize your windows. So when the new triple pane comes in, you know, the winter's coming in a couple weeks.
Right.
You can just watch the snow fall and not worry about it, right?
Yeah, it's a. I think it's a perfect time to test the new window working well. Without condensation. So let's see.
I'm excited for you guys. It's always nice to see what goes out, and then all the, you know, you look at it and say, how are we gonna fix this? And then 20 minutes later, we got a new window in, and life is good again. So
I hope so. And maybe I'm gonna add one more comment. For the winterizing or putting the plastic bag over every single window, it is basically not once in a year, because we have to put it and we have to take out. And the seal is stuck into the window frame. And that taking out, scraping it, it's a really tough job.
No, so we don't want to be doing that.
Twice a year.
Twice a year. There's other things in life to be doing than putting plastic on the windows.
Right.
Okay. So I think we'll end it for now, and then we'll get some windows in. And we can see what it looks like afterwards. Right?
Sounds good. Thanks, Ian.
Yes, you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Can't wait. Okay, we just took out the actual frame of the window that we were working on earlier. So now we can actually have a look at the sill and the jamb. You can see that there's a little bit of water damage to the actual sill. But when I stick my knife through, it's still actually quite solid. So any water that was getting there was more just a little bit of a staining effect that it was causing, not total rot. So I think that this should be able to stay in place. We're going to put our 3M flashing over top, and that'll help protect that in the future. So what was happening was, you know, water coming from you know, the rain or snow melting. Inside with the condensation issues, water was getting underneath the actual frame of the window, and it was sitting there not being able to dry. That was leading to the rot of the frame. This damage here seems to be fairly cosmetic, and once we get the new flashing on it, then it'll be covered up and protected. You can see our lovely friend, our little bat insulation. We've talked about how useless that is.
And a nail fin.
And yes, so we're getting rid of this. We're going to be putting in some low density spray foam, covering around the entire window and sealing off from the outside. So we can see that the window that we were taking out, it was in multiple pieces. It would have all been assembled, you know, when they were building the house. Just adds in more chances of having air infiltration, worker defects from installing it not properly. So the window that we're putting in today is going to be all in one piece, and it just eliminates any of those issues we're going to have to deal with water infiltration. It's all going in. We can just slide it in. It's going to be very heavy. It's going to take a lot of guys, but we'll be able to get it in. And then we know that it's a one-piece construction. Don't have to worry about, you know, water getting in behind any of the components. So that's obviously a benefit. And then we'll be able to seal around it 100%, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, so one of the windows we see here, the inside pane of glass is actually cracked. Our homeowners here have lived here basically since the house was built. From what they recall, they've never thrown anything at the window and damaged it on purpose or anything like that. So what I think has happened here is some thermal expansion and contraction has occurred and caused this kind of sash of the glass, because this one is also in pieces. There was some flexing, and then when glass is under stress, it will crack. It needs to be able to have space to expand and contract. So there might not be really any spacers inside this window. It could have been installed improperly. Could be a manufacturer defect. It's really hard to tell. But what needs to happen with these windows, especially when they're not very efficient, is they need to have room to move. If they don't, then you're going to put stress on that glass and it's going to crack. So that might not happen right away, but that'll happen, you know, years in the future. And then obviously it looks cosmetically doesn't look good. So we'll be taking all this out, and our new windows today are not going to have this kind of feature happening. So we're in the garage and we can actually see some more signs of ice buildup and condensation issues with this window. You can see the wall has got some mold on it, and the drywall is fairly rotted out. There's lots of soft spots there. So what's happening here is you get the warm air coming off the vehicles, you got snow melting off the vehicles, adding a lot of humidity. So any window in a garage is really susceptible to having a lot of that frost and ice buildup. So I'd imagine in the wintertime, this window gets a couple inches thick of ice on it. Once that ice melts on a warm day, then it's all gonna run down the wall, which is why you see these kind of tracks of staining along the wall. And this is just gonna rot this out. So I'll make a recommendation to the homeowner to, if they're not gonna replace this window, because it is a garage window, it's not like it's part of the house, the inside of the house, to either replace this window at some point, or at least repair the drywall so you don't have mold growing on your walls, because this is just going to get worse over time. So this is again something that you can see in real time, in a real situation where that water's melting, causing that drywall to rot out and cause mold problems. So if this was inside the house and you had someone who had respiratory problems, especially if they had allergies to different types of molds, this could be something that could set off an asthma attack or set off breathing issues and cause them a lot of problems. So this can not always be visible because it might actually be happening behind the drywall depending on where the water's running. So I've seen this in a lot of houses where we pull the drywall off and it's molding and rotting from the inside, and a lot of times it's from water running off the inside of the window because it's poorly insulated and it's inefficient. So another reason to switch out your windows. So like we've been doing in the past, this window is going to be a brick mold style installation. We're not doing nail fin here. You can see the trim around this window. This isn't even actually wood. This is like a kind of a foam product that they cover in a lath and then apply like an acrylic stucco. It's a really nice look. It's paintable. You can do different things with it, but once you damage it and cut it, it's very hard to repair. Just like stucco itself, this is even more delicate. It chips very easily. It's incredibly brittle. So we don't want to do anything with this other than keep it intact. If we're doing a nail fin, we're gonna have to cut this all out. It's not gonna look the same, and it's gonna do a lot of chipping, and there's gonna be a lot of repairs needed afterwards. So when we install our new window, we're gonna keep this all in place, and then we're just gonna caulk around the edge, seal up from the outside in terms of water infiltration, and then we're good to go. And then it's nice and quick. We're not having to deal with it. If we're having to do a nail fin, we're gonna be here probably for a day and maybe 2 days just working on this one window alone, doing the repairs. So it's adding a lot of time. We're getting closer to winter, so we don't wanna have the house exposed to the elements like that for a long period of time. Within the next hour or so, we're gonna have a new window in here and be sealed up, which is what we want. Took out another window, and now we can see we have our useless bad insulation underneath it. We have no membrane covering up the wood here, so it's just exposed. So we'll put our new 3M flashing on top of the sill here, create a nice slope away from the house, and then we'll be able to install the new window. Stubborn window.
Just like you.
You gotta know how to treat it. You gotta take care of these guys. Okay, we're gonna have a look at this casement window. Just pull the screen out. Get out of the way. Yeah, this window looks like it has like a tinting or a coating on it that's starting to peel. Again, cosmetically, aesthetically, this doesn't look good at all. It's bubbling and just looks like shit. You can do the outside, you can actually barely see. It's all kind of distorted. So it's nice to have a nice large window, but it's better off being open than closed for looking at it. So we can open it up. Still works just fine, but having this kind of coating on it, if you're gonna have this type of material, you got to make sure that it's done right, because over time, if it starts to look like this, that's not good. Ecoline has a slightly different process for putting on these types of coatings and films, and it's not going to bubble out over time like this. So, not good to see. This is our front office room window. See how it's all in one piece? It's already been assembled together. Just way less chances of having any issues related to the installation of it. All these guys got to do is just be careful not to damage it. It's going to weigh a few hundred pounds. And then once it's in place, it's not going anywhere and it's not going to leak. It's going to be really good at having a thermal effectiveness. I don't know if that's a word, but we'll use it. I'd love to help them, but there's too many guys. I'll just get in the way. I'll trip and fall down on the grass and it'll be a disaster. So we'll just watch today. We got our 3M, our membrane on top already, our flashing. So we got it all nice and sealed down, sitting properly. Talked about the sill. It's still in good condition. So we're good to lift the window in place and then start to fasten it. And then we'll start to seal it up. We can see on this window, like the ones in the original on the inside of the house, this does have a coating or a film on it because it's being exposed to a lot of sunlight. Sometimes we put on the coating just to block out the sun a little bit more so it's not so bright. Other coatings will add a little bit of a, create more of an efficiency factor. So that's why that's there, but this is not going to be able to peel up and crack and become bubbling and distorting your view over time. This is done the right way. So this is a high quality finish here. You can see how thick the window is. The jamb extension, it's probably a good 8 inches thick, and it's going to be very heavy, but this one's built to last, that's for sure. We can see the actual bottom of the window. See how heavy duty this construction is. A lot of modern vinyl windows are put together with staples and they still have a lot of wood in them. This is all 100% PVC. We have metal brackets, metal screws. Everything is built to last. All of the sealant on the inside. It's just gonna really help keep things nice and efficient. And all PVC on the inside of the window. Once we get it inside, we can test it out, but really heavy duty. This is probably one of the larger windows I've seen for a one-piece construction, so very high quality. Okay, so we measured our opening. We've ensured that it's going to be able to fit in place, and we put some extra blocking in just to help shim that up so that we're going to be nice and even at the top part of the window. So we're going to get this inside, and then we'll be able to shim it with our cedar shims, and then screw it and fasten it into place.
Do you have something to say?
It's just so easy for these guys.
Yeah. In one move.
Just one move, one shot, that's all you get. Doesn't that look good already? Just leave it like that? What do you think? It's good enough, right? Yeah. No, they got to make sure that it's going to sit properly so that they can seal, because they use a foam sealant that has like a nozzle on it. So they got to make sure that that nozzle can get in all the way around the window. Oh, nice. Because you might think that the tighter is better, like no gap, but then you can't get any insulation in there. So then it's going to be more leaky. Right. So you want to make sure there's a nice little inch gap all the way around. That way it's going to seal better. Yeah. So we're getting our window fastened into place. Looks like we got all our screws in. These little holes that created when they drill into the actual frame, they have little covers, little white covers that they put on so you don't actually notice that there's a screw there. We're gonna finish up caulking from the outside, and then we'll be putting in our low density spray foam through this gap here, all the way to the front of the window, all the way to the back, make sure that it's 100% sealed up. That's gonna create a lot of comfort and no drafts, no air leaks. And once that's done, then we put our casing back on and we're good to go. What's your first thoughts?
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, didn't take long.
What do we mean?
Didn't take long to change it out.
Right.
Yeah, pretty quick, hey?
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, so a lot of the other...
You guys are working very efficient.
Oh yeah, they don't take too many breaks. Yeah. The another advantage here is that your trim, the stucco, everything's intact. They didn't have to damage anything.
Oh, that's good.
Right? So if you're installing a window with a nail fin style, where they actually have to cut out around the window to nail the window in from the outside, it's going to cause a lot more damage, a lot more repairs needed.
Right.
And over time, you know, they might be here for another day or two just doing this one window alone because they have to repair. And this type of trim, this is kind of like a foam. This isn't like a cement based. So this will chip and crack, and it will never look the same.
What does make not cutting this part? Only we can fit.
Yeah, so we measured the window so that it would fit inside, and then they screw it from the inside.
Right.
So you don't see the screws, and you don't have to worry about nailing it from the outside. Right. A lot of window companies, if you're dealing with a window, especially this size, they might only be able to make it one way. So Ecoline can do it with the brick mold style, and then you just seal up this gap here, and from the inside and from the outside, then you don't have to worry.
Do you think the insulation or that, the insulation or fitting in makes a little bit of losing insulation, do you think?
No, you want that gap, and once you get the spray foam in there, that's sealed. It makes a hell of a difference. That insulation that you had before, this back insulation, it just, when you squeeze it, when you compress it, it becomes useless. It doesn't do anything. You could probably feel almost air some days coming through the window because it's the only thing that's keeping it from the outside. When you spray foam, it's going to fill up every void. You won't have any issues at all. So yeah, and then when you caulk around, then you seal the water. No water's getting in. Over time, maybe 5 years from now, the caulking might start to crack. So then you got to recaulk it. That's easy. So underneath our window here, we've removed what was existing. So we need to fill this gap here with some mortar to match the stonework so that it looks natural. So what our installer here is doing is creating a little bag that he can basically, just same thing as icing a cake. We're just gonna use that bag and squirt the mortar inside that joint there and make a nice, fresh, clean look. Okay, we're gonna wrap things up here for today. We talked about how the older wood frame windows were leaking, causing condensation issues, a lot of maintenance problems for the homeowners, trying to prevent that condensation as much as they could. And what our new triple pane, high efficient windows are gonna be like, providing a lot of comfort, a lot less air infiltration, no moisture problems in the future. We've sealed up everything properly. We added mortar to the stones underneath so that everything looks like it's meant to be. And then we have some other windows to do as we progress along for the rest of the day. But we're gonna cut it off for here today, and we'll catch you at the next time. And I know that if I'm installing windows in my house, I'm going with Ecoline.